This is who I am. This is what I do. This is who I am. I'm the living proof. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is who I am. Who the fuck are you?
Hey guys, welcome to EAF, Entrepreneurial AF. I am Deanna Kozak, also affectionately known as Joel's sister. I have been self-employed in real estate in Southern New Jersey for 11 years, and this is my co-host, Joel Richardson of Soul Joel's Comedy Club, also known as Deanna's brother. Thank you, Chris Roach. One of the comedians introduced him as Deanna's brother, so we're trying to make that a thing. So if anybody is listening to this and they see Joel, please refer to him as Deanna's brother. He owns Soul Joel's Comedy Club and Lounge in Royersford, Pennsylvania, and does shows all across the country under Soul Joel Productions. Also self-employed for 11 years. You can check us out on Soul Joel TV on YouTube and Facebook, and you can also download this on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere that you get your podcasts. So today, this is tips for entrepreneurs surviving and thriving. We are going to talk about self-love. And I think it's very, very important.
But before we even get into this weekend,
go ahead.
You guys were down the shore, and your daughter, who it might as well be you, she had me go over and FaceTime her because she didn't think Uncle Joel, who, by the way, just turned 40, she's 11, could not water the plants and then feed the hermit crab. And she made me show her every step of the way on FaceTime. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, that is your daughter to a T, type A personality, follow the instructions, dummy. Back to you.
Must have control. Yeah. If you don't have your hand on top of it, if you don't have control, what is going on? But absolutely, if anybody is listening to this and has kids, your children are always watching. Don't forget that, because my kids like to, they pick up, they're control freaks, they're type A. So your kids definitely learn from you. So again, I think that's kind of good point, Joel, that you bring up, because if you don't love yourself, and I mean, this is important for men too, like if you're not happy with yourself, but I think with women, as we're kind of rolling into summertime, getting on that bathing suit, mom, and just loving yourself. And it's hard. Like I struggle with it. Like I have run a 30-mile race and I still sometimes struggle with body image. Like Joel, you said to me the other day in the run, you're like, oh, you'd never be able to tell you had 4 kids. And my response was, I still have 20 pounds to lose. Like that shouldn't be my response. Do you agree? And you, Joel, you've lost a lot of weight recently. And you know
I've
that
been in my first trimester for 20 years.
But I mean, I think you know that the better you feel about yourself, the more things kind of fall into place. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just got, it's all, I mean, not all, but a lot of it is mental. It's about how you feel, not really what your perception is. It's the way you feel inside.
Right. And whether, you're in a relationship, you're married, or you're in a new relationship, or you're starting a business, or you want to start a business, or you work for the man, whatever the case may be, I think really being happy, truly happy with yourself and working on that every day, whether you're male or female, is important. And people take notice of that. And, it's just having that mindset that you don't have to be 100% like, oh yeah, I'm super happy that I'm 20 pounds overweight. I don't have to be happy about it, but I can say I love myself right now, but I still have goals. Right? Like I think that's kind of a good thing for people to take away, is that it's okay to still have goals. Like your company right now, like, your company got hit hard in the pandemic, but you're happy because you guys are doing stuff. Do you still want to grow, and do you still have goals? Yeah, of course.
Well, I also see, I mean, this is before the quarantine happened. When you walk into a place, whether it's a retail store or a restaurant, the staff's attitude also emulates, the boss, and it's a trickle down effect. So if they have a poor attitude, their staff is going to have a poor attitude. So I think this all goes to what you're talking about, that your attitude should be a positive one because you're influencing your employees, and that's good for any entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anybody to know that your attitude, loving yourself, exuding positivity, it's important. And our guest today, she does a lot of
Very excited.
does a lot of stuff with female empowerment and exuding that. And I think she's of the same mindset of us. We're going to let her tell us a little bit about what she does. So without further ado, we would love to bring out and welcome to EAF Leslie Jespersen.
Hi. Hello.
Hey, Leslie. So
I love how the other day you just said to me, you're like, I must just be at the top of your algorithms. You're like, I am my brand. I've been doing this for years. Like, I'm just now noticing. I love how that was your attitude. You're like, I've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that sounded kind of like conceited, and I didn't mean it that way. But
no, not at all. No, I loved it. I'm like, you're right. Do you think, girl?
You complimented my social media game, and I'm like, well, dang, like I've been doing this for a long time. Thanks, Facebook, for finally like putting me in someone else's feed who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, and that's important on social media to get out in front of people that need to see you. So tell our audience that is listening, tell us like what it is that you do, what kind of things you have your hand in, and then also let them know where they can find you online, like your handles, your website, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I started as an entrepreneur, started my full-time media and marketing company in 2016 as a social media strategist and a hyperlocal entertainment publicist, working with comedians and performers. I live in Atlantic City, so it's like a little microcosm of all of that. And so I've always used social media, and I've always been comfortable. I was a child actor, so I've always been comfortable, with myself as a brand. But as my company kind of went through, and I don't have to tell you, Joel, like working with comedians and stuff, like I could not handle it. And I realized that I had so much to say myself, just about the journey in my personal life. So I kind of pushed myself out of working for other people, even though it was my company. As a social media strategist and as a publicist, you're working for other people. Mm-hmm. I had young kids. I still have young kids. But I morphed into a brand myself, which was a radio show and podcast called Volume Up, just rebranded to Love Leslie Jespersen, which is where you can find me on Facebook, which is where I post most of my content. And my Instagram is Leslie_Jespersen, but it's a very simple way to explain myself as a self-love influencer, because at the end of the day, that's what I am.
Okay. So what is it exactly that, what is Love Leslie Jespersen, and what is it that you post, and what is it that you do day to day? Like, what is your, who is your target audience, and who are you trying to reach?
My goal is to be what I needed years ago, but couldn't find, in that, you can be what you are and who you are in the moment, but exactly what you were saying, it doesn't mean that you can't have goals and, try to change. So my day-to-day is a lot of sharing my own personal struggles, my own journeys, but always having that message of self-love, even on the bad days. Like, even when you're having a terrible day mentally, it's okay to have those thoughts, but here's what you do to get out of that, to not stay in that mindset. So I've taken that, I've turned that into a brand. And I collaborate with I sell makeup, and I'm a firm advocate in, self-love doesn't mean loving yourself as like your lowest vibe. Like, putting makeup on doesn't mean you don't love yourself. It means that, like, this is what you're doing to embody who you feel comfortable as. Right. So, collaborating with all of that stuff, especially with like plus size fashion, because it's hard to find clothes that make you feel good in your body. And then producing women's empowerment events like the one I have coming up in a couple weeks, which has really, really been my favorite, most passionate project, bringing together a bunch of women from all different fields to have a panel of speakers and just really level up in all aspects.
Which is great. I mean, I was in the military.
Okay.
So all the women's empowerment stuff, and Joel is a huge advocate for women's empowerment because he grew up with 2 sisters and a single mom. So
and a single mom. So I was the 4th person in the household, the 3rd sister.
So Joel is very, very sympathetic to women's empowerment, but I think it's important because I think it's important for women to have those circles, and women still make 75 cents on the dollar for what men make, and I think as we just kind of keep pushing, and I've seen it in my industry, and I've seen it in other industries where and I'm not saying for better or for worse, but it's still a little bit of a man's world.
Yeah, we've made progress, but we're not there yet. And I try and pride myself on being like the feminist that doesn't immediately shut people down. Like, I like to listen and then explain myself, but in a way, and I've had people come after me, and like, that's how you're making a difference, right? When people are noticing you enough to come at you and like confront you. And I just had someone take screenshots of my body in a bathing suit and destroy me on social media, and that just...
Are you serious?
Yeah. Last week told me I need to, instead of being a self-love coach, I should get a coach at the gym, and like, oh
my God.
Yeah. I was like, oh, are we triggering? Whoa. I'm thinking maybe you should come to my event. I don't know.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to tell you. Like, during this time, people have complimented us on being actually more present on social media. And during this pandemic, I think the same could be said about you. Like, whether you're at the top of my algorithms or someone else, like, you have not disappeared during this time, and you've been probably just as active, if not more active now.
Yeah, there have been days where, especially I'm very like woo-woo. So like last week with the new moon and the Mercury retrograde, I needed to like retreat and recharge because social media people, like, this is bringing out the ugly in people. So it's very hard to like preserve your energy. So I'm a firm advocate in like recognizing when you need to do that. But I tell like all the people that I work with, you need to be consistent on social media and authentic and transparent, because that's the only way, especially as entrepreneurs, and we're all stuck in our houses, that people are going to see you.
Yeah. And I think that's important. What you just said is not completely disappearing, but I think they call that it's okay to take a break. Mm-hmm. Don't quit, but it's okay to rest.
Exactly. Rest is so important. That's like my number one thing that I have learned just throughout all of this, is like recognizing when I'm like at my wit's end and I need to recharge.
Yeah, Joel just did that this morning. He was at his wit's end at 8:30 in the morning and went for a 4-mile run.
All right, relax. Leslie, that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. We briefly talked about this last week, where some female comics had posted about how they were going to go to a Black Lives Matter protest and asked if anybody else was going, which I get it, very passionate about it, but I don't think they needed to be in a bikini while posting that.
So this is interesting, because I think I might have a little bit of conflicting opinion about that, because I did an episode once that said like influencer is not a dirty word. And I think that if someone wants to go protest in a bikini, I have such conflicting views on this, because number one, it isn't about you right now. And but also if she wants to wear a bikini, like wear a bikini. Like,
or maybe she's just trying to grab people's attention, and that's what gets people's attention.
Honestly, at the end of the day, it's true.
Yeah, well, no, that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Sex sells.
It's what you do after that, like what your next step is, that's most important. So like now you have people's attention. What's coming out of your mouth?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes you have to be a little bit. Joel has a comic, Brendan Donegan, who does a bunch of sketches, and he did like a pre-skit, and then he just did a bowling basketball one at, post coronavirus or during coronavirus, whatever. And it's ruffling people's feathers, especially the priest one. Within the Bible Belt, people get very up in arms about religion, but sometimes you have to wade into those waters of controversy
Yeah.
to, that, and that, like you said, that you're doing it right when you ruffle a little bit of feathers.
And not for nothing, that's why I'm glad I'm not in PR anymore. Because, like, what a nightmare to be the one handling all of that backlash, right?
Yeah. Putting out the fire. So tell us, Love Leslie Jespersen, tell us, what did you go to school for? Did you always envision yourself doing like, your own self-empowerment things? What's it all that look like pre 2016?
So I have my degree in communications, journalism. So I studied advertising, marketing, all of that stuff.
Very relevant.
Yeah. I actually graduated college 8 weeks pregnant with my daughter. So I didn't feel comfortable going right into the field to try and get a job and be like, oh, by the way, I'm going to be out in 8 months. So I just worked in restaurants. But while I was working in the restaurants, I got my social media master certification, which at the time, nobody in this area knew anything about social media as a business tool. So
and what year was that?
That was 2014-ish.
Okay.
So I really did an amazing job at, not to toot my own horn, but I branded myself
as
the social media person to go to in South Jersey and even beyond. And, as I was doing that company's called Marceluna Media. And I did that, but then I was married. Hurricane Sandy happened. So this is actually 2012, but it's all kind of like wrapped up in the same thing. I lost my home in Hurricane Sandy. Right. And then my husband left me. So it
was a great year for you.
Yeah, 2013 was awesome.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But 2014 and 2015 was kind of like, look, in hindsight, I had such an amazing opportunity to just really figure out what I loved, what I wanted to do, and start from scratch.
And if none of that crap had happened, maybe you, I'm just kind of projecting, but maybe you wouldn't be where you are, right? I
am so grateful for the awful crap that I went through, because I did not love myself. I hated myself at that point. I was extremely unhealthy. I was broke as a joke. I thought I didn't feel fulfilled because I thought, my role was to be like a mom and work a 9-to-5 desk job. And I don't knock anybody who loves that, but that just did not fulfill me. And I was just miserable all the time. So it's one of those things where, like I say in my talks, you can't have a tight grip on this life and then be asking the universe to give you something else, because your hands are already full. And I wasn't letting go. So I was like forced to have all of that stuff taken away from me so that I could really step into what was really meant for me.
Well, kudos to you, because fast forward to 2020, the other night, I was watching your social media and you're like, every once in a while, you got to treat your man. And you had your credit card because you were treating. So great job on that for making that comeback. That's great.
And that's very new, because I finally am talking about it. Like, I made some really poor business decisions last year, and I was rock bottom again financially and business wise. And it was really hard for me as a strong, independent woman to let somebody else support myself and my kids that aren't even his. You know what I mean? So it's like, felt really good to be able to be like, all right, I'm back on it, Yeah,
it's to hit.
Do you
go ahead. No, go ahead, Joel.
Oh, no. I was gonna say, do you also see yourself like it's good to not only share the successes but also share the failures, both on social media and just in telling your story?
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. I always say if it takes me 20 more years to get where I need to be, but I have my integrity and I'm telling the truth and I'm authentic in what I'm speaking, I'm 100% okay with that.
Not just the highlight reel, which is
right.
what
we get plenty. We get plenty of that when we scroll our Instagram feed. You don't, you know?
Right. Yeah. And like you said, like right now it's, you know, you have a babysitter and, you know, if the dog's barking, if the kids are yelling, but that's when you're working from home and you're working for yourself. Sometimes that's what it looks like. It's work in between the cracks. Or I call it work in between the snacks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Because how many snacks do your kids ask for a day, right?
I have them like separated in cabinets. I'm like, you don't touch this cabinet till 3 p.m. Like,
right. Yeah. Yep. But no, I think that's, so was it like always, do you think you kind of just after working for other companies kind of said that was your epiphany? Because some people they're like, no, I always wanted to own my own company. I always knew I was going to work for myself. Do you think yours was just like a natural progression and you just kind of found it along the way?
My parents both own their own businesses, and I grew up like I wasn't allowed to go hang out with my friends. I had to work in the office, and they own a bookstore and an antique shop. So like I learned all of that. I learned to hustle really young, but then somewhere I got this idea that like I said, I literally had the 2 dogs, the picket fence, the marriage, and my next step was to work for the man because that's what I went to college for. And then the job was so bad. Like I cared more about their money than they did. And I was just browbeaten, like, just sit down, shut up, and do what you're told. And I was like, I can't do this. So I literally had a talk with my mom. I said, Mom, like, if I walk out of here, like, can you make sure we're not homeless? And that's all it took because I said, I developed a drinking problem. I was depressed, just like working in that environment. So to me, there wasn't really any other option but to like succeed as my own boss. There was no other option.
So you already kind of had that platform. I think kind of our people that we interview so far, it's about 50-50. 50% say that they saw their parents, their schedule, their hustle, and they learned from it. And then 50% of the people are like, I just got tired of working for somebody else, giving them all my ideas. And I think you're kind of just a mix of both. Like you already had it ingrained in you and you already knew kind of what it took, which I think is wonderful. And I'm sure being an empowerment coach for women and doing those events, you probably speak a lot. But if you had to like pick your top 5 tips for being an entrepreneur, what would they be?
So I love this question and I wrote them down because I needed to. So number 1 is just have a plan. Whether the amount of people I used to consult with who didn't have a business plan or a marketing plan, I'm like, but dude. So number 1, just have a plan. Network your butt off. That has been like I've met so many crucial, people who have changed my life, changed my career just by not being afraid to go up to somebody and shake their hand, look them in the eye and introduce myself.
Yep.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Set guidelines know what your boundaries are with your time, with your family and your health. I say that because I did not. Mm-hmm. And I learned hard way. I ended up like literally in the hospital just from stress. Not good. And I prepare for the plot twists because there will, you're not what you think your business, your company is going to be like. And then Corona happens. You know what I mean? There's going to be plot twists.
Yeah, no.
I like the plot twist.
So
I like calling it
right now. Yeah.
I like calling it a plot twist. I think that's good. That's good.
I felt so like responsible. I'm like, I can't stop doing social media. Don't want to do that anymore. I don't have to do that. It's my story. I can make the plot twist whenever I want.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
That was only 4, but
no, I think that's great. And then
important. Yeah.
No, that's hey.
Our guest last week, on Monday only had 1. And it sometimes that's all you need is one good one. I mean, 4 is great. So you probably speak at a lot of events. And if you had to get up in front of a whole audience of people, which I'm sure you do. And just, they said, Leslie, you have one thing. Joel's is be undeniable. Mine is never give up. What would like your one line of advice be?
My one line would be stay in alignment with yourself. Like, and what that means is like always check in. And as we grow and as we level up, what used to be in alignment with us sometimes, and that's how I was with my marketing business. It just wasn't in alignment anymore. Yep. And so it's time to change. So whatever is in alignment with you is where you need to go. Okay.
I love that. Yeah. I think that is fantastic. And tell everybody once again, kind of, where they can find you. It's Love Leslie Jespersen on Facebook, right?
Yeah. My website's just lesliejespersen.com. My last name is all E's. I get a lot of SON, but it's easy if you just say it's all E's, Jespersen, lesliejespersen.com, and you can connect with me. I have all the links on the website to my event, to my socials, to podcasts, to the makeup, all of it on there. And to book me to speak is on there. And Instagram is Leslie_Jespersen.
So anyone looking for self-love and female empowerment events, that's what they're looking for. And they know to look for you, Leslie Jespersen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And in particular, real quick, what date, and is it going to be a virtual event? How can people find information about that? Just give the details for the Women Empowerment event.
So it's called the Leveled Up Brunch, and this is our second postponement, but it is happening July 19th at Hard Rock Casino, which, yes, they are doing some incredible safety measures. We do have virtual tickets available if you're not comfortable or if you're more than 2 hours driving distance. But I'm bringing speakers in from all over the country. It's July 19th, 12 to 4. It's a day party. Like, you're going to get a ton of, soul food for your mind, for your body, all of it. But you're also going to have a really good brunch, bottomless mimosas, Bloody Marys, raffles, pop-up headshot station to get your brand, leveled up. It's going to be a great day. Leveledupbrunch.com, or just search it in Facebook, Leveled Up Brunch.
Great.
Awesome. Love it. That's amazing. I love what you're doing for women. Very relevant to our topic today, loving yourself. And leave us with, if you had a theme song, what would it be?
My theme song, it changes, but what always kind of like gets me back on track is Kelly Clarkson's Whole Lotta Woman, because I think a lot of times women are told to be small and don't be too loud and don't ruffle the feathers.
Or they call you the B word.
Yes. And this song is just like, hold on, I'm a whole lot of woman. And that doesn't even have to be like physically. It just means like, I'm here, I have a voice, and that's okay. And you're going to hear me, and it's going to be great.
I think that's a great thing, especially for you, Leslie. I think that's amazing. You guys can find her on Leslie_Jespersen on Instagram, Leslie Jespersen, all E's.com, and Love Leslie Jespersen
all E's
on Facebook. Check out her Leveled Up Brunch, which is happening July 18th at the Hard Rock Casino in Atlantic City. I am Deanna Kozak, and I real estate in South Jersey, also known as Joel's sister, Joel Richardson of Soul Joel's Comedy Club and Lounge in Royersford, Pennsylvania, and Soul Joel Productions. And this has been EAF, Entrepreneurial AF. Thank you guys for listening, and thanks for being on, Leslie.
Thank you for tuning in to Entrepreneurs Fuck. To stay up to date on future shows, follow Soul Joel TV on Facebook and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. See you next time. And always remember, respect the hustle.